International travel.
Yeah, we're awesome at that.
In a world plagued by mediocrity, two men have teamed up to be the ultimate authority in awesomeness. Now you can gain advice from Mike and Jerem on how to be awesome at, stuff.
Welcome to How to Be Awesome at Stuff, the show where we teach you how to be awesome at stuff.
So here's how this works. You guys give us questions and we give you answers. This week's question comes from David Peters, and David Peters wants to know how to be awesome at international travel. Well, David, we've actually done that.
Extensively, really.
Extensively.
I mean, I lived abroad for a couple of years.
Same here. The thing about being in another country is that a lot of other countries don't hear English very well.
Oh man, they're practically deaf. I mean, but English is the universal language.
Right, so all you really have to do is talk very slowly and very loudly. That always helps them understand.
Emphasis on loud.
Yes.
You know, there's one thing that Americans are known for across the world, and that's our well, other than our patience, it's our mildness. So you got to overcome that when you're traveling the international scene. You got to show them that you know the universal language and you are willing to speak it to the level that they're going to understand. I mean,
right.
It's one of those things, they don't have as much practice as you.
Yeah, the louder you speak, the better they'll understand. Also, you know, there's a common misconception that if you learn at least as much of the language as you can, it's showing how polite you are. It's
Konnichiwa.
The truth about that is that you don't need to worry about being polite. They already hate you.
Well, I mean, depending on where you go.
Well, depending on where you go, but for most countries, they already hate you, and the fact that
South Americans hate us because we stole the name of their continent.
The fact that
we're Americans.
The fact that they can almost understand one out of every half-masticated words that comes out of your tourist blowhole is not going to make them hate you any less.
I like that. That's a good tip. Let's mark that down as tip number 2. So tip number 1, English is the universal language. Tip number 2, don't try and speak theirs.
Yep.
Unless you actually know it.
It's going to tick them off.
Conosco?
Yes.
Conosco.
So tip number 3.
That's Spanish, by the way.
Right. So tip number 3. Whenever you go to another country, you're always going to want to get souvenirs. Don't bother shopping in the little stores on the streets.
Overpriced.
They will rip you off.
Yeah.
The best stuff you can get is from the people that are walking the streets trying to hustle their stuff to you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know it's the real stuff because they already stole it off of the other tourists.
Right. Yeah, and you know you're going to get good quality stuff, too. I mean, it's like, you're not going to get one of those, what was it, the Poly Station?
Oh, yeah, Poly Station.
Not a PlayStation, it was the Poly Station. Mosquito? Yeah, the mosquito drill that I bought at the auction. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Little backstory on the Poly Station thing. So I was in Ecuador several years ago, and I was walking by this electronics store, and I kid you not, there in the window was a Poly Station. Looked exactly like a PlayStation, but it was Poly. Made by Poly, I guess. Poly Station.
Probably from China.
Probably.
Speaking of China, I've never been there, but I've heard it's a beautiful country. Also,
I don't know where to go with that.
I lived in Spain for a little while. My biggest recommendation to those who want to travel Europe is, you know, don't catch any babies. A little backstory on that. I happened to be sitting on a park bench one day, and I set down my obviously Americanized backpack next to me, and a lady threw her baby at me and ran away with my backpack. So.
But you sold the baby, right?
I sold the baby. That's just the way of these people. So, I had to do that in order to make sure that I had the money that I needed to get back home. Yeah. No, I actually took the baby to the police station. So, wasn't a great experience.
I can imagine. So
No, you can't.
Okay, you got me. So I've never had a baby thrown at me. So
Just let it drop. Let's just drop it.
yeah, because if you catch it, you're responsible.
I mean, let's just drop the subject. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, that
right.
came out
The subject,
totally
not
wrong.
The baby. So I feel like I'd be doing our viewers a disservice if I didn't talk about this. So again, when I was in Ecuador, I was walking through this neighborhood, and again, talking about the salesman on the street, there are certain ones that you do have to avoid. I was walking through this neighborhood, and there was a guy going door to door, and he had this little rack that he's holding in his hand, little rack about this wide, and from it were hanging several, okay, there's no way to sugarcoat this, little girls' panties.
Wait.
So
Little girls?
yeah, I think they were all little girls, and he was just going door to door,
Oh,
just
man.
Presenting them.
Imagine being the tourist that he stole those off of.
I mean, how degrading.
Actually, maybe that was the guy that stole my backpack.
How degrading would it be to be the door-to-door panty salesman? Didn't you have one about making sure that you had American flags on everything?
Yes! Now, that one is actually best, certain areas of the world may or may not be friendly towards U.S. citizens. Canada is one of those notorious, almost a death trap for U.S. citizens. So, I wouldn't recommend this if you're traveling to Canada, but pretty much anywhere else. Just make sure that you have a large American flag type, bumper sticker, maybe just a patch that you can sew on there.
Especially like in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the opposite side of the world. They got to know where you're from.
You want them to understand, recognize who you are, where you're from, and so that you get the respect you deserve as an American traveling.
Yeah, make sure that all your stuff has American flags on it so that they know it's yours.
Fantastic idea.
And make sure that all your valuables are out where you can see them, so
Absolutely.
so that you can keep an eye on them.
Yeah. Laptops, camcorders, iPads, iPods. You're going to want to keep those in probably some clear plastic baggies. Keep them tied, maybe around your waist. But you keep them where you can see them. You want those things visible to you and the general public. So.
Yeah. Okay, so there you have it. Now you know how to be awesome at international travel.
Right. Drink the water.
So go do it.
Wear your Americanness like a badge of honor. Everywhere you go. Wear your Birkenstocks with socks. Wear your...
Keep going. I want to see where this goes.
You've got your Birkenstocks on over your socks. Wear your shorts when it's only 40 degrees outside. Have your massive camera around your neck that you never use while you're using your iPhone to take pictures. Do all those things. Wear it like a badge of honor everywhere you go.
And join us back here next week to find out how to be awesome at something else.
You just watched our first episode of How to Be Awesome at Stuff.
If you want to get your comment or question into the show, please just send us an email.
htbaas@gmail.com.
And go ahead and leave us a comment at facebook.com/htbaas. Pay no attention to the man back there.